Check. Looking good. I think everything's all set. Okay. So, the Democrats have taken the top 3 spots in Michigan and passed all their radical proposals with the help of the media and their donors. What happened to the red wave we were supposed to see? Well, it was local. We saw conservatives elected to school boards and commissioner spots. So we'll need a different tactic for taking the higher levels of government, but the local stuff is working. Ottawa Impact is here to stay, and we can replicate that model all over the state. Conservatives of Michigan need to take a look at that. I am Anon Don. This is the Homes Politicast. All right, so first order of business up on the screen there, you'll see the number that you can call. You can leave a voice message for me to play on the show. If you have any opinions on what is happening, on what we can do to change the state of, well, our state. So anything that you want to add to the show, you can go ahead and call that number right there. And probably won't answer it, but you are welcome to leave a message. And if it's appropriate, I'll play it on the show. All right. So that's taken care of. We can get rid of that. First order of business is, you all know the results of the election. I don't think that I need to get into them. I will point out that, let's see, Paul Krause did win judge of circuit court. The appellate court is gone to a radical, Kathleen Feeney. So Mr. Vote didn't quite get the votes that he was looking for. Of course, we know that the commissioner's race here in Ottawa County went all Republican. Real Republican, not fake Republicans. And then, of course, we know that the top seats went to Democrats. What we don't know, and what we're all scratching our head about, is how. How did that happen? Something that I'd like to point out, just that boggles my mind. Okay, so we're gonna check this out. So Gretchen Whitmer got 2,500,000 votes. 2,042,422. Jocelyn Benson got 2,459,000. Okay, total votes 4,447,000. Okay, so almost 2 million people voted for the extremely radical pro-lifer Tudor Dixon. What is this? What is this? Almost the same amount of total votes cast for the governor. No, never mind. So looking at this, there were people that just didn't vote on the proposals, which that kind of is weird to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a weird person and knowing like what's going on there, but I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but it doesn't look that weird now looking at it. So this one kind of does. A ton of people voted for Proposal 1 that voted for, I assume that voted for Tudor Dixon. Of course, that one was not pushed hardly at all. So looking back, I can see how that happened. But there you are. All 3 proposals passed. I was predicting that this one would, Proposal 3. I was predicting that it would not get half of the votes. Oh, excuse me. That was a long shot. That was 11% that the polls would have had to have been off by. The polls were off by 5%, but doesn't help us any. So there's where the state is. The state is looking pretty blue. There's some other states that are looking mighty fine right now. But no, I'm sticking around. I'm not leaving. I've thought about it. I've seriously considered it. But I think there are other ways that we can do this. And also, I've got a lot of friends and family here that aren't leaving. So there we go. And I think this is very temporary. This Democrats in control of everything. So Ottawa County, let's go over there because there's a lot of good news in Ottawa County. As I'm sure you know, if you're listening to this show, you're probably in Ottawa County. You're probably very up to date on everything that happened. So here we go. Paul Krause won. That's great. Ottawa County Commissioners, that's all flipped to real Republicans. There's going to be a lot of things happening with the Board of Commissioners. A lot of money is going to be rerouted from, leftist things to things that actually help our county. So it's going to be awesome to see. Something interesting that I'm looking at right here, Holland Township trustee went Republican by a lot, and Holland's really blue. So I don't know how David DeYoung got in there, but good job, David. You won as a Republican in a very blue in a very blue part of the county. So that's awesome. The Jamestown Township Board of Directors. I'm looking at this. I have no idea who any of these people are. So I don't know if this is good or bad. But I think the Jamestown Township Library still failed to pass their millage. Allendale Public School Board members, Liz Ramey and Josh Thurkettle. Not sure who the Thurkettle guy is. We talked to Troy Lampin. He came in third in that. So I don't know that Allendale is particularly accepting of school board members that are not going to, and at least notify parents of the explicit content that's in the schools. We talked to him a little bit. He was not necessarily in favor of explicit content in schools, but he would have to. I asked him I asked him a very explicit question with some pretty explicit language. You can listen to that interview, and he kind of hemmed and hawed and was like, "Oh, well, we'd have to look at where this book is, and if it's in a college prep course, an AP course, that's fine, and blah blah blah, and yada yada," and not really taking a firm stance that I don't see the educational value in this. And he didn't really expound on what educational value that book could have. So that's where we're going with that. Allendale Public School Board member, again, this is for a partial term. It expires in 2024. But Corey Mango, with 49.5% of the votes. Wow. He turned the other candidates over and spanked them hard. Fruitport Community School Board members, I don't know about any of these. I didn't know Fruitport was in Ottawa County. But Fruitport is not a county I'm familiar with. And also, I don't think Ottawa Impact is into Fruitport yet. So I don't think, actually, I can check right here. I've got the Ottawa Impact members up. Let's check it out. Yeah, Fruitport is not here. Allendale, Grand Haven, Granville, Holland and Jennison were the ones that ran. Oh, where's my mouse? So, Fruitport, we haven't extended into there yet. Grand Haven Public School, I regret to inform you that all three of the Ottawa Impact candidates lost, but they got close. Thomas Hoekstra coming in at 49.6% of the vote. And Roger Williams, not really nipping on Carl Trutler's heels, but they didn't do awful, I think. I encourage them to keep running because Grand Haven has gone bluer and bluer. But I did an interview with Jen Stuppy a couple weeks ago, and I was talking with her about just going door to door and talking with citizens and showing them the books that the schools have. And that does a lot more to change people's minds than just about anything else. Because the media is telling them that you want to ban, To Kill a Mockingbird and other books that are similar. So going door to door, showing them exactly what they're voting for, that's the way to win. Bob Wondergem, Joe Steffes, both won their races handily. Cross-dressing Cameron came in at fourth place with 15% of the vote behind Joe Steffes' 25.9%. So looks like Granville does not want cross-dressing dude, which is good. I applaud Granville for that. Good job, Granville. Hamilton County or Hamilton Community, I have no idea who those are. Holland Public School Board. I think I saw one of the Holland, Katie Staroba, and Lori Van't Hoff. Okay, so they came in dead last. Again, Holland, very blue. Not a place that I think they were expecting to win, but they ran anyway. Hudsonville School Board, Barbara Hooper and Greg Chansky both made it in. So those were the two. They were both endorsed by Ottawa Impact, but they weren't running as Ottawa Impact candidates. So I know they were the more conservative people, though, in that race. And then you've got other board members that I can't speak to because I don't know who most of these people are. So that's going to be something that we're keeping a much closer eye on, though. School board members. You're going to see a lot more of that on this show over the next couple of years because that's where they're fighting the culture war, is in the classroom. If they can confuse your children, if they can make your children more accepting of their ideas, then they will. So, let's see. Okay, so these are just all the millages. So that's the good news here out of Ottawa County. So where was the red wave? Well, it was local. And that's where our power lies, I think, is in our local community, keeping it free from all of the destructive ideologies, keeping families together. That's where we're going to find a good, solid foundation for our republic. Not necessarily in putting up very angry candidates for statewide elections. Now, I did vote for all of the candidates that are very upset with the way that things are running. But there are some problems. They did not win the independent vote. Number one, we put up Christina Caramo, and she was not necessarily the strongest choice. She did great. She really did. She got a lot of the vote, but it was only Republicans. She could not sway the independents. And I think that that's because she was saying she was at the TCF Center a couple years ago in 2020, and she was not. Okay. So Charlie LaDuff brought that out, reported on that. Also, Matt DePerno, again, I think, whether he's right or wrong, the way that he was going about proving himself is not a way to win independence. Charlie LaDuff made a lot of jokes about stealing voting machines and all this kind of stuff. So, are we going to win putting up candidates that are very upset with the voting process and trying their best to prove that Democrats are cheating? I don't think so. Just my 2 cents. But that's also coming from independents and even some Republican voters that were not necessarily enchanted with all the candidates. I work with a teacher who's very conservative, and he was not excited about the Republican nominees. Just wasn't excited about it. So here's the thing. Can Democrats manufacture absentee ballots, stuff them into the boxes, and win elections that way? They sure can. Right? But all those absentee ballots become invalidated if the actual people go and they vote. Right? Ballots have to be connected to a person. So I think the Republicans moving forward, if they want to win, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to dump money into ballot harvesting. It is legal in Michigan. That is the way we are running elections right now. Is it gross? Yeah. Is it an awful way to conduct elections? It sure is. It's disgusting. It is not what our founders had in mind. But if we want to get anywhere, you can't do anything if you're not in office. Well, you can, actually. We've shown that over the past couple of years, getting certain laws repealed, running statewide campaigns for constitutional amendments, right? So you can get things done if you're not in office, but I don't know that the voting system is going to get fixed without the legislature. And if the legislature wants to win, we're going to have to run solid conservative people that, while they are concerned about election security, are not running on the idea that there's mass fraud, that everybody's cheating, that all this stuff is going on that they can't prove. Unless you've got proof in your hand, Republicans, don't be shouting election fraud, because it's just not going to fly with independents. Okay. So, ballot harvesting is, I think, where we're heading. And that's going to take a concerted effort from voters as well. And this is where I think we may struggle a little bit. Because ballot harvesting takes people going up to doors, knocking, helping the person to fill out their ballot in an informed way, and then taking the ballot from them, dropping it off. Yeah, I don't like the process either. But that is how Democrats have set up our elections for right now. We can play their game and we can beat them at it. But we're going to have to play their game because that's the way it's set up. And the media is sure not going to do us any favors, right? We all saw the the commercials, right, running every couple minutes about how bad Tudor Dixon is and how bad Matt DePerno is and how bad, you know, they're in the Democrats' pocket. And I think I know why that is. Democrats are okay with, funneling money through them and allowing them to keep some of it, and they're getting a lot of taxpayer kickbacks, and that's all part of the game we're playing. But again, we can play their game, we can play it better, and we can play it without cheating. So that's kind of my 2 cents from the election. Now, there's a lot of blame going around in the Republican Party as to whose fault it is that we lost. And I'm just not going to get into that. I'm not sure that it is really. I'm not sure that it was. It definitely wasn't. The GOP getting behind, candidates and supporting them. I don't think that was the issue. I think one part of the issue may have been that Trump was electing statewide candidate, or not electing them, but endorsing them. Kind of got his hands into the political process there a little bit. And Democrats did too, of course. I reported on that. Democrats were voting for Republican primary candidates that they thought they could either beat or were less conservative than the other guy. So I think definitely Trump needs to stay out of this next election. He needs to stop endorsing people. You know what? If he wants to endorse the Republican candidate, great. That will be great. He should not be endorsing primary candidates, though, because he's not exactly the greatest at picking the people that are going to win. So don't listen to Trump when you're voting for your primary candidates next time around. Now, is this me turning on Trump? No. I'll still vote for the guy if he's our president nominee in 2024. I am going to have to vote for him. I probably won't vote for him in a primary. I guess if that's me turning on Trump, then that's on you. You can make that decision. But I was never super huge fan of the guy. He's helped to nominate some people that were unelectable. So I think he's kind of run his usefulness in the Republican Party. He did a great job exposing media fraud. He did a great job at, and that's why I started doing what I'm doing. Because I saw all the media fraud and I saw everything that was going on with Trump. I did not like him in 2016. I liked what he was talking about. I liked what he was saying, but I didn't trust him. I didn't like him. I didn't think he was going to do any of it. He won me over in 2020. And that's when I started doing this podcast. It's because I noticed that our local media isn't exactly too much better than the national media. So there's that meme floating around with, Gretchen Whitmer with the shirt, Craig Mauger works for me. It's not too far from the truth. So, shameless plug for me, and I'm not working for anybody. So, just you get the news and interviews with the candidates. I'm going to ask the hard questions. I'm not going to give them an out, and I'm going to go after them if they are not telling the truth, if they're not doing what they say they're going to do, and if they're not representing the conservative voters. So there's my shameless plug. That's all that I wanted to really get on and do for today. Once again, make sure that if you have any opinions, scroll back to the beginning of this video and check out that number. You can call me, leave a message. I'll be sure to play it on the show. And until next week, I'm Anon Don. This is the Holmes Politicast.